The wind howled through the empty streets of Chicago, cutting through layers of worn-out jackets and cardboard shelters. Among the figures huddled behind a diner's dumpster was Ray Donovan, a 50-year-old former mechanic whose life had once been filled with the hum of engines, oil-stained hands, and late-night breakthroughs in his garage. Now he was just another invisible man on the street. It wasn't always like this. Ray once owned a small auto shop, well known for fixing engines others had given up on. But after his wife passed away and medical bills swallowed his savings, the business collapsed. His pride kept him from asking for help. Eventually, his tools were pawned, the shop shuttered, and the streets became home. That afternoon, while scavenging for food behind a diner, Ray heard a metallic screech and a frustrated voice shouting. He peeked around the alley to see a sleek electric sedan, hood popped open, steam billowing out. A woman in her 30s stood beside it, trying to dial for help, clearly late for something important. Ray stepped forward slowly, brushing crumbs from his coat. "Ma'am, I can help if you'd like." The woman turned, cautious but curious. "Are you a mechanic?" "Used to be," Ray said, holding up grease-stained fingers. "Still know my way around an engine, or whatever passes for one these days." She hesitated. Her name was Amelia Grant, and she was CEO of Eltec Motors, a leading innovator in electric vehicle design. She had just left a critical investor meeting when her prototype car shut down. Ray glanced under the hood. "Battery lines loose. Also looks like the onboard processor overheated. May I?" "You can try," she said, skeptical. With only a screwdriver from the trunk in his bare hands, Ray adjusted the wiring, used a cloth to cool the processor unit, and reset the car's AI. Within minutes, the car hummed to life. Amelia stared in disbelief. "You fixed it." Ray nodded, smiling faintly. "She's a beauty, just needed the right touch." She reached into her purse. "Let me pay you." "No," Ray said, stepping back. "Just maybe a warm meal." Amelia blinked, taken aback by his humility. They ended up at a nearby food truck. As Ray devoured a hot sandwich, she asked questions. He told her bits of his story, how he used to build custom engines, how he once designed a fuel-efficient prototype that no company cared to buy, and how he lost everything. When he mentioned the V7 combustion redesign, her eyes widened. That was a legacy design still used in many modern hybrids, and only a handful of engineers knew how to build it from scratch. "Wait," she said, voice sharp. "You're Ray Donovan?" He nodded. "Haven't heard that name in years." Amelia fell silent, suddenly seeing him in a new light, not as a homeless drifter, but as a brilliant mind left behind by the system. She stood. "Ray, can you meet me at this address tomorrow morning?" He looked, down at his ragged coat and broken shoes. "I don't think I'd fit in." She smiled gently and placed a business card in his hand. "You fixed something no one else could today. Let me return the favor." Ray stared at the card. Eltec headquarters, 9 a.m. That night, beneath his usual blanket of cardboard, Ray didn't feel cold. For the first time in years, he felt something unfamiliar. Hope. The sun had barely risen when Ray Donovan stood outside the towering glass building of Eltec Motors. He wore the cleanest clothes he could piece together, a second-hand coat, patched-up jeans, and his nerves. Clutched in his hand was the business card from Amelia Grant, the CEO whose electric car he'd fixed the day before. Security gave him strange looks as he walked through the lobby, a homeless man among high heels and tailored suits. He felt the stares, but the receptionist, already expecting him, offered a polite nod. "Ms. Grant is waiting for you on the top floor, Mr. Donovan." "Top floor, CEO level." He stepped into the elevator, heart pounding. Was this real? When the doors opened, Amelia greeted him personally with a warm smile. "You came," she said. "You told me to," he replied, "but I'll be honest, I'm not sure why." She led him into a sleek conference room with glass walls and an electric sports car on display beside a long table. Waiting inside were a few top engineers, board members, and even a technology officer. "I told them about you," Amelia said, "and about what you did yesterday without tools, manuals, or diagnostics. That wasn't luck, that was mastery." One engineer leaned forward. "You rebuilt the V7 combustion model years ago, didn't you?" Ray nodded. "Modified it for performance and efficiency. Never got it patented, though. Got buried with the garage." "Do you know," Amelia said softly, "your design was years ahead of its time? We still use versions of it." Ray looked stunned. The CTO asked, "Would you be interested in helping us redesign our next-gen powertrain?" Ray blinked. "You want me to work here?" "I want you to lead a division, Mr. Donovan," Amelia said. "You're not just a mechanic. You're an innovator we overlooked, and we're prepared to offer you not just a job, but a fresh start." They handed him a contract already prepared. It included a competitive salary, housing assistance, and access to a private research lab where he could build whatever he dreamed of. Ray stared at the document. "Why are you doing this?" Amelia smiled. "Because sometimes talent ends up on the street, and sometimes we need to be the ones who see it." Ray signed the papers with shaky hands. By the following week, he had a place to live, a company ID badge, and a garage full of tools, his name engraved on the door, Donovan Innovations Lab. And he was no longer invisible. Word spread through the company like wildfire. A homeless man had walked in and stunned the entire engineering board with nothing but intuition, experience, and heart. Months later, Ray stood beside Amelia at a global tech expo as they unveiled LTEC's newest hybrid engine, engineered under Donovan's design. Cameras flashed, journalists cheered. Amelia leaned over and whispered, "Told you you didn't belong in the alley." Ray smiled. "No, I belong right here." From forgotten mechanic to engineering legend, Ray's story became a symbol, a reminder that genius doesn't always wear a suit, and sometimes a wrench and a meal are all it takes to change a life.